Hey everyone, Miss GoElectric here. Today is Sunday, March 9th, 2025, and this is the 53rd consecutive episode of The Current, weekly EV news in about 10 minutes. This week's episode has been made possible by Rivian. We are grateful to more than 10,000 viewers like you who tune in every Sunday for balanced information with context and synthesis. We want to thank you for telling your friends and colleagues about this program. Now, in our second year, we're scheduled to bring you this show from electrification events and locations all over the United States and beyond. This week, I'm thrilled to be reporting from beautiful Austin, Texas at the South by Southwest Conference and Festival. This year, American EV automaker Rivian is the title sponsor of the event. I've checked out Rivian's experiences they've set up all over town, including static R1, R2, and R3 displays, an impressive electric joyride off-road experience in the tri-motor R1, the electric Ben & Jerry's ice cream van, and this California dune scene here at the Electric Roadhouse. They've got many presentations lined up, including a keynote speech from CEO RJ Scaringe on Tuesday, March 11th. The pop-up test drive depot is up and running too. If you'll be in Austin this week, have a look at the links to all of that in this video's description. Okay, on to the news. Those of you who have watched our 8-episode e-bike buying guide or checked out some of our reviews have heard me talk about the importance of making sure your e-mobility device is powered by batteries which are safety certified. You may have even seen our Take Charge educational campaign with the Fire Safety Research Institute. We always recommend looking for a UL 2271 battery certification, and we try to only review e-bikes which offer that. In previous episodes of The Current, we've reported about the few tragic e-bike or scooter battery fires in New York City, which started when delivery riders charged uncertified or DIY modified battery packs. In an effort to stop the influx of more dangerous battery packs, the city implemented laws prohibiting the sales of e-bikes which have not been UL certified. They also implemented a trade-in program to reduce the number of uncertified e-bike batteries in use. But today is the last day to apply. If you or someone you know is a New York resident and non-UL certified e-bike or e-moped delivery rider, check out the link in this video's description to apply for a UL certified replacement and spare battery from the city. Let's get rid of those bad apples. Volvo has officially launched the ES90, its latest all-electric fastback sedan. The ES90 will be built on the SPA2 platform in Chengdu, China. Its 800-volt architecture can support a peak DC fast charging rate of 350 kilowatts. They claim it will be able to charge from 10 to 80% in 20 minutes, thanks in part to battery preconditioning. The vehicle will also be equipped with bidirectional charging capabilities too. The single-motor rear-wheel drive ES90 has a 92 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and there will be a 106 kilowatt-hour battery pack in the all-wheel drive twin-motor and twin-motor performance models. Those are rated for up to 435 miles of range on Europe's WLTP testing cycle. We might expect north of 350 miles on the US EPA cycle. The top-performing twin-motor performance variant will deliver up to 670 horsepower and a 0 to 60 mile/hour sprint in 3.9 seconds. The ES90 will also have an optional air suspension. As far as storage goes, the tiny frunk is just shy of 1 cubic foot, but the rear cargo will have a hatchback design with 14.9 cubic feet of space and a small cubby under the rear floor. It will also have an optional tow bar with a whopping capacity of up to 4,409 pounds. That's pretty good for a sedan. Inside, the ES90 comes equipped with 5G connectivity, a 14.5-inch Google-powered infotainment screen, a head-up display, and a 25-speaker Bowers & Wilkins sound system with Dolby Atmos. An optional electrochromic panoramic glass roof will also be available. The advanced driver assistance systems are supported by dual NVIDIA Drive AGX Orin processors and include 5 radars, 7 cameras, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and a LiDAR from Luminar Technologies. This core system is part of Volvo's Superset tech stack, which debuted in the EX90 SUV. The ES90 is currently available for order in select European markets in 2 trim levels, starting at £69,000. That price is equivalent to about $90,000 US. Volvo plans to release the EV more broadly in 2026, and they claim this rollout will include the US market. An uncertain tariff situation could foil those plans. More on that later. Are Americans ready for the return of sedans? Does the ES90 appeal to you? I have spoken to many car buyers with families who want to go electric but can't find an EV large enough to contain all of the kids, pets, and gear. The transition to electric transportation requires several compelling vehicles in every form factor. This week, one entry will stretch the EV category a bit further. Cadillac has officially revealed the Escalade IQL. The extended length edition of their full-size electric SUV promises to be the largest 7-passenger EV available in the US by almost every metric. The IQL is 4.2 inches longer and 2.3 inches taller than the IQ. Those changes add about 5 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. There are 24.2 cubic feet behind the third row, and the maximum cargo capacity is 137.4 cubic feet. There are some trade-offs for this size. The 750 horsepower IQL can deliver a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of 4.7 seconds. It is not nearly as quick as 7-passenger EVs, such as the upcoming 1,025 horsepower Rivian R1S quad motor, 1,020 horsepower Tesla Model X Plaid, and 828 horsepower Lucid Gravity. It offers a ground clearance of 6.9 inches. For reference, the 7-passenger R1S behind me has a maximum ground clearance of 14.9 inches. The extended edition is expected to achieve the same 460 miles of EPA estimated range with the same 205 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Its towing capacity is also unchanged at 7,500 pounds. The extra space comes at a cost. The Escalade IQL starts at $132,695 compared to its little brother at $130,000, and production will begin in mid-2025 at General Motors Factory Zero plant in Detroit, Michigan. The first deliveries are expected this summer. Each week, we report on policy changes which are likely to affect the electrification of transportation. On Tuesday, U.S. leadership announced new 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada, as well as an increase from 10 to 20% on Chinese goods. The changes were set to go into effect on March 12th. 2 days later, most of those new tariffs were delayed until April 4th. Steel and aluminum tariffs, however, remain on track to kick in this Wednesday. Those tariffs will impact the cost of producing any automobile, including electric vehicles. Predictably, investors reacted to the new tariffs by selling, sending share prices of related companies sharply downward. When the president delayed the tariffs, investors started to buy back in, which resulted in some price recovery. American-built pure EV manufacturer stock prices dropped this week overall. Lucid is down 5%, and Rivian lost 7% of its market capitalization, while Tesla's value dropped more than 12%. Interestingly, the big three, including Ford, Stellantis, and GM, were granted a temporary exemption to these tariffs. Each of their most popular EVs are built in Mexico. Ford stock is up 2% this week, while GM stock is down about 5%, and Stellantis dropped about 2%. Federal funding pauses across many electrification-related departments, including public charging infrastructure, also persisted this week. To our knowledge, none have become permanent. We'll do our best to deliver clarity next week. One of my favorite automotive events each year is the Amelia Island Concours d'Elegance in Northeast Florida. Some of you might remember this video I produced there featuring EVs of the 1800s and many EV concepts and pre-production vehicles which are now in production. This year is the show's 30th anniversary. Again, they are featuring several electric vehicles and at least one vehicle with no wheels at all. Today, Pivotal is showing off their $200,000 Helix amphibious electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle at the event. We covered their impressive Helix aircraft in detail back in episode 40. If any of you live in Florida to see it in person, we hope you'll tag us on X or Instagram, or tell us about it here in the comments section below. I'm considering their pilot training course and a solo flight in a Helix later this year. Would you be interested in seeing some coverage of that? That just about wraps up the current for this week. If you haven't quite gotten your fill of e-mobility information, we've recently published a few segments you might enjoy. The first is our detailed review of the Pucky Puppy Golden R 1600 watt dual motor fat tire e-bike. I took it out on road and on a snow-covered off-road motorcycle track in rural Michigan, alongside the other hooligans at this year's winter moto camp. You can find that video over at the Miss GoElectric Ride Reviews channel. I also published a fascinating conversation with Rivian's chief designer and fellow Oakland University alum, Jeff Hammoud. We talked about his transition from years with Jeep to working with a blank slate EV startup, the importance of upcoming R2 and R3 vehicles, and we explored the brand new limited edition California Dune R1 vehicles in person. That episode of our In Charge interview series is now live on the Miss GoElectric Industry channel. Don't forget to join me on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok for real-time updates and fun stories which might not fit into the current. Thanks to Rivian for making this week's episode possible, and thank you all for joining me this week at the Electric Roadhouse. Until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.